Hi, Paul here from Photo Genius. Welcome to my channel and welcome to the 14th Photography Challenge. Now, the Photography Challenge I started back in March. It was a weekly challenge up to a point, and now it is a monthly challenge. And I started this challenge as a way to give people that were at home due to the COVID lockdown something to do, something to work on, and a way to brush up on their photography skills. We've literally had thousands of people get involved and thousands upon thousands of images posted to social media, so thank you to everyone that's got involved so far. And it works like this: I post a video every single month and I share with you a theme and then maybe some tips and hints on how to maybe approach the theme. And then of course you can post your images if you wish to social media. We've got a Facebook group especially for the challenge which is free to join, details in the description below, and of course you can also post your images to Instagram. Now, for us to see your images, and this goes for everybody, I also ask that you use a hashtag. We have a different hashtag for every single challenge. This month's hashtag is PGC14. So this month's photography challenge is the bokeh challenge. Now, if you don't know what bokeh is, the clue is behind me here on the monitor. Bokeh is a term that you don't hear me use too much, but it is a very popular term in photography circles. And I also get loads of people asking me on my workshops, what is bokeh and how do you get that look? So I thought, hey, why don't we make it this month's challenge? Now, bokeh is derived from the Japanese word for blur and is often used by photographers as a way to describe the aesthetic quality of blur or the out of focus parts of an image. So with this image, the background is clearly out of focus. This is called a shallow depth of field. This makes the subject stand out. This koala image was shot with the same lens and camera, and again the background is out of focus. So you could say these images have great bokeh, but often bokeh is used as a direct term to describe the soft circular blur that appears around the highlights. This can be clearly seen in these images I took recently of our model Georgia. Now, I may not use the term bokeh very much myself, but I certainly like the look. I think it's really cool and it really can add a little something to an image. You may have noticed that I sometimes use bokeh in my videos as well. With both of these examples, simply setting the focus to manual and turning the focus ring on the lens gives a really good bokeh effect. Take a look at the image behind me and we see an image that is completely out of focus. Now, normally when we're taking a picture, we do the opposite. We focus on our subject, make it nice and sharp, and we might blur the background for effect. But normally we have a subject and the goal is to focus on the subject. Whereas here, I've done the opposite, which is to defocus. That's my choice. I've then created this nice abstract image that I kind of like. So bokeh and focus are very much linked. So let's start by taking a look at this. Now let's take a look once again at the clip from the intro to this video. Here I simply adjusted the focus on the lens to throw everything out of focus and create the bokeh effect. And here's a still image taken from the same view. And here's another of my Canon 1500D with the city lights in the background clearly out of focus, again creating the bokeh look. If you choose to manually focus your lens, the simplest way of doing this is to turn off autofocus by using the switch on the side of the lens. But if you've got a Nikon, particularly a newer Nikon, you may find that your lens doesn't have a switch. That's okay. All you've got to do is select manual focus via the camera. So I decided to get creative using a wine glass and a water spray. Using live view on the Nikon D3500, I was able to focus on the water droplets and throw the background out of focus to create a really cool abstract bokeh image. Now these images used exactly the same technique, and a good tip is to bring the camera really close to the subject. This really helps to throw the background out of focus. So here's 4 tips to help you get the bokeh look, starting with using a wider aperture. Tip number 2 is bring the camera closer to the subject to help separate the subject from the blurry background. Number 3 is, if you can, zoom in or try a telephoto lens. Have a go at focusing manually. And finally, if you have a prime lens, use it. And this is because prime lenses have a wider aperture. Okay, so I just want to mention prime lenses because prime lenses are very popular and it's another alternative way of getting the bokeh look. Now, what is a prime lens? Well, it's a lens that doesn't zoom. It has a fixed focal length. Now, they come in all different shapes and sizes. Here I have the very popular 50mm prime lens, often referred to as the Nifty 50. Now, the aperture in this particular lens opens up to f1.8, which is really, really wide. Now, if you remember from a few moments ago, we found out that the wider the aperture, the better the bokeh effect. So that's why prime lenses are very popular. Now, if you don't know much about prime lenses, but you want to find out more, I've done a separate video on them. I'll put a link up here, and also in the description below, you can find out more details about this lens. So I really hope you enjoy this month's challenge as you learn to use blur in a creative sense. Now, don't forget, if you're posting your images to social media, please use the hashtag PGC14 so I and others can find your images. And of course, there's another 13 challenges before this one, so if you've missed out and you want to get involved in those, just head over to the Photogenius website. I'll put a link in the description below this video. If you've enjoyed the video, please give us a thumbs up. It really helps the channel. Consider subscribing, and I hope to see you again sometime soon. See ya. Bye.